Hello, my name is Dr. Linda Robinson and I am the Deputy Associate Dean of the Marketing Discipline here at RMIT University. Thank you for joining this information session this afternoon, where we're going to talk to you about two of the majors that you can pick as part of the Bachelor of Business, the Marketing major and the Social Impact major. These programs are world-renowned and allow students to work across a variety of disciplines to replicate the real-world experience that they will need once they start their careers. Before I start, RMIT University acknowledges the people of the Woiwurrung and Boorlong language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nation, on whose unceded lands we conduct the business of the university. RMIT University respectfully acknowledges their ancestors and elders, past, present and emerging. RMIT also acknowledges the traditional custodians and their ancestors of the lands and waters across Australia where we conduct the business of our university. RMIT is committed to redefining its relationship in working with and supporting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander self-determination. The university's goal is to achieve lasting transformation by maturing its values, culture, policy and structures in a way that embeds reconciliation in everything we do. In line with the principles of Bundagal, we are changing our ways of knowing, working and being to support sustainable reconciliation and activate a relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous staff, students and community. Next slide, please. I'll now be giving an overview of our marketing major before handing over to my colleague Yannicka, who will provide an overview of the social impact major. I'm going to be talking to you about what marketing is, why you should choose to study marketing at RMIT, and what are the career paths you can follow in a marketing major. And if you have any questions, please enter them in the chat at any time during the presentation, as we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. So marketing is fundamentally about exchange, and it exists in all aspects of our lives, and it's something that's part of every business in the contemporary environment. So whether we're trying to encourage people to get a vaccination, or if we're trying to sell products in supermarkets, or communicate on digital platforms, or even create new digital marketplaces, we're engaging in marketing. Marketing is essentially about having the right product targeted to the right audience, having the right levels of communication and also the right price. And all these factors need to come together to create value for the consumer. And the beauty of marketing is that it's competitive. So whilst we're trying to do all of that for our brand, our competitors are doing the same thing. And they're also trying to convince people of the value of purchasing their product. So the challenge for marketers is it's about how we create what is known as a sustainable competitive advantage. That is, we can do all of that better than our competitors. And to achieve this, we need to use a blend of different skills that you'll develop through studying a marketing major. One of the things I most love about marketing is that it's a blend of art and science. It is what really drew me into wanting to study marketing when I was choosing my bachelor's degree. So if you're more scientifically minded and like things that are clean and rational, there is a strong element to marketing that is a science, such as looking at consumer psychology or the data and information that inform business decisions. For those of you who have a more creative side, not necessarily artistic, but also creative problem solving, there's a lot of marketing that involves that creativity and artistic license, especially in things like advertising, communications and digital marketing. So ideally, the best marketers we find are those that can bring together art and science. And that's something that we certainly strive to teach you here at RMIT in the marketing major. So let's take a look at what you'll study at RMIT if you're interested in choosing a marketing major. As you can see on the screen, our marketing major is made up of 8 courses, and of those 8 courses, 6 of those are fixed, and you'll definitely study those 6, as these provide you with a really solid and clear foundation to your studies. So we start with the basics of marketing principles, and then we look at understanding the psychology of consumers and buyer behaviour, to understanding how we gather and use information in market research, the exciting world of advertising and promotions that comes through marketing communications, understanding the changing environment of digital marketing, and then being able to pull that all together to make the right kinds of strategic decisions in strategic marketing. Those 6 courses form the basis of your marketing major, and from there you'll choose an additional 2 courses, 2 elective marketing courses, to make up a total of 8. Next slide, please. Now, these are all the elective marketing courses that you're able to choose from to round out your major. And of course, we give a great variety of choice, and you can essentially pick any 2 of those courses to add to your initial 6 to make up your marketing major. I won't go through each of these courses that are listed here in detail. Many of the names are relatively self-explanatory, but if you've got questions about what you might study in different courses, or if different areas of marketing are covered in our courses, please put those questions in the chat along the way. But I do acknowledge that seeing so much choice when there's only 2 courses left in the major can be a bit overwhelming from at the start. So we have an approach to guide you through this choice, which is what we call career couplets. And in a career couplet, we'll guide you on which of these 2 courses you can take together in order to provide you with a clear industry choice or an area of marketing that you might like to work in. Of course, aside from choosing 2 of these electives to do in your marketing major, you might choose as part of your Bachelor of Business to take some additional marketing courses to fill out the free elective spaces that you have in your degree. Or if you choose a second major, such as the social impact major, which we'll hear from Yannicka about shortly, there are marketing courses that are electives as part of that major as well. So you can get marketing, extra marketing courses throughout your degree, aside from the 8 that you'll choose in your marketing major. But let's give you some examples of the career couplets that we guide you guys on. So here's 7 examples, and again, I won't go through all of them, but you'll get an idea what I mean by a career couplet. So for example, if you're interested in brand management, where a lot of our students end up getting jobs, we recommend that you take the applied brand management course and couple that with the product innovation management course. And these 2 courses together, when added to your marketing major, give you a chance to really specialise for a career in brand management. For those that are interested in data analytics and consumer insight, you could take the marketing analytics course and our course in customer experience strategy and prepare yourself for that particular field, which is a huge growth area in marketing jobs. Now, these are just some of the examples, and of course you're free to choose your own pathway and to mix and match as you'd like. And I might be a little bit biased, but I think that the marketing major is the perfect choice, and I certainly think that it makes a great first choice. But even if it's not your first choice, if you've attended some of the other major presentations today and they provide a compelling reason for you to choose that major, I'd also like to ask you to think about adding marketing as a second major in those instances, and or taking our marketing minor, because it certainly provides you with great flexibility and choice and adaptability to work in a range of roles across all different types of industries. So next slide, please. So if you're interested in studying marketing, the next best question is, why should you choose RMIT to study marketing? Well, a number of different reasons. So we have a fantastic teaching approach, which is all about applied and active learning, and that comes from our people who are themselves applied researchers, who engage with industry, who are award-winning educators, and that together ensures that you get a wonderful industry-relevant learning experience. Where in many of your classes, you'll find that you're working with real brands on real situations, and that leads to employability, and that's, of course, what we're aiming to do. So to get you into great jobs, future-proof jobs, whether it's with a small to medium-sized firm to a global brand, and of course the future brands that marketing will be central to creating, we drive your career options and ambitions through the choice of courses and career couplets that I just took you through, and some of the flexibility that comes with that. So next slide, please. So of course, in the normal world, the pre-COVID world, I'd be telling you about all the great global opportunities that you'd have to travel to our partner universities across the world that can form part of your Bachelor of Business. But even while we're restricted with border closures, there's a lot of great global opportunities that form part of your Bachelor of Business here at RMIT, whether that's through virtual global experiences in class or as an extracurricular activity. or bringing international and global brands into our classroom, you can still get a great global education with the Bachelor of Business. So next slide, please. So now let's look at some of the great range of jobs and careers that are available after you complete a marketing major. So from multinational firms, to small businesses, or even if you're wanting to start your own business, marketing is certainly global in nature, it's future-proof, and it's very much a dynamic and exciting career. And as you can see from the list of job opportunities, from service and retail, right through to advertising and promotion, there's a lot of demand for marketing graduates. Next slide. And just to give you some examples of the types of jobs that are out there, these are all current jobs or relatively recently advertised jobs. The ones in blue are just ones we've found on Seek that are looking for marketing graduates right now. And the ones in red are actual jobs that some of our marketing graduates are working in today. And you can see from the wonderful array of organisations and companies that are listed here, they all need marketing to survive. They're all recruiting marketing graduates to fill these different types of roles across industries and across different types of levels, from the most junior to the most senior in an organisation. So next slide, please. So I'd like to welcome you to join us in studying marketing at RMIT, and I encourage you to think about marketing as either your first or second major as part of your Bachelor of Business, or even as take our marketing minor as part of your degree. And on behalf of all of the staff who I have the great pleasure to work with, we hope that we'll see you studying marketing with us at RMIT. And now I'd like to welcome Dr. Janneke Blij-Levens to give an overview of the social impact major. So over to you, Janneke.
Thank you, Linda. Yes, hello, I am Janneke Blij-Levens and I am the coordinator of the major called Social Impact. Next slide, please. So what I'll talk to you about today is a little bit about what social impact is and what you will be doing when you are taking this major, what courses will you take, how that looks like, and then where that leads to in terms of careers. And of course, I'm going to try and convince you that RMIT is the best place for this major. Next slide, please. So, as you can see here, there's a big definition on social impact, and you can read it if you want. But in essence, what it means is when you take the social impact major here, we will be teaching you how to conduct responsible business, have responsible business practices as the core of the work that you do. You learn the skills and tools and knowledge and ways of thinking that help you use your powers for good and solve societal issues. And when we talk about societal issues, think about themes such as poverty or wealth distribution, education for all, environmental sustainability, or cultural inclusion. These are themes that you will be working with and thinking about in how your business practices influence these positively and negatively. All right. Next slide, please. So in order to do this major, you need to finish 8 courses. 6 of those are fixed, and 2 you get to choose from a wide range of electives. So here are the first 6 that you need to do in order to complete the social impact major. Enterprise Beyond Profit looks at how you can enterprise with goals in mind that are not all about money. It can be about social well-being, environmental impacts, positive environmental impact, of course. Law, business, and human rights looks at how, when you are conducting business, how that influences the people, the humans, societies, and systems around us. And we have to have a good look at the human rights issues that you may be affecting or are affected by when you are conducting business. Development economics looks at economies that are not as established as you might find here in Australia and how we might help them develop, but also how we can differently distribute wealth to develop those economies. Not all economies have to be the same. Global Business Sustainability Project is a very creative course wherein you will be innovating a new way to conduct business with a sustainable goal in mind. Sustainable finance and investment is really about finances and money allocation and how you can do that in a sustainable way. And then integrated reporting for socially responsible entities is about accounting, which you have to do as a business. But when you have other things in mind, other goals in mind than profit, like social well-being, then accounting becomes a little bit different. So you'll be learning here how to do that. So once you've completed these 6, you can add 2 electives to it to complete your major in social impact. Next slide, please. We have quite a few courses that you can choose from, and we are actually designing a few more for you to choose from in the future. I won't go through these all, but just to point a few out, you can do social marketing and consumer well-being. That fits really well with the marketing major. Justice innovation is a course that looks at how you can innovate the way people engage with social justice or the justice system. You can look at global processes. Yes, we focus on what the effects you have right here and right now, but you can also look at the effects you have globally when you conduct your business. So as you can see, a lot going on here, but it's all about having positive impact on the society and the world around us. Next slide, please. So what does that look like if you were to do a social impact major in the Bachelor of Business here? As you know, you will be doing core courses that you have to do. Then you have some electives, and then you can combine a major with another major, or you can combine it with a minor or 2 minors. Here is an example where I've combined social impact major with the minor behavioral business. And the courses in yellow there are the behavioral business courses that you will be taking. Like, for example, psychology for business decisions, surveys and experiments for business, or behavioral finance. If you were to take this combination, you could become a policy advisor that helps the government initiate programs to make for a healthier society, for example. Or you can become an innovator that designs an app for financial literacy, so helping people make better financial decisions for themselves. Or you become a people's manager or human resources manager that creates a cultural inclusion training module that all staff in an organization have to take to really harness the diversity of the people that are present in that organization. That's one example. Let's go to the next. You can also take the social impact major and then combine that with a more traditional discipline major, like, for example, marketing, but it can also be economics or finance or accounting. There's a lot that you can do here. I took marketing here because you just heard about it, so that it makes a little bit more sense. And of course, we all have a bit of that social element to it already. So if you look at this combination here, then maybe you can become a brand manager that develops inclusive products. Everyone can use them. Consumer insight specialist that highlights social trends currently going on in society and tries to figure out how to tap into those successfully. You can become a sustainable event manager. If we ever get to have events again in real life, then perhaps you can do a completely no waste one. Next slide, please. So I've already given you a little bit of an idea of where a social impact major might take you. And when you graduate with a social impact major, you can just step into an existing social organization if you want. As you know, Melbourne has quite a few B corporations, and these are corporations, businesses that have more than just profit as their goals. They have social well-being goals or environmental sustainability goals, etc. And you can join them in there and really make that impact in the world. Or you can join a charitable organization and work with them, or you can help the government come up with policies or programs that have a positive societal impact as well. But what is really beautiful about this social impact major is that it can transform any career into a positive, socially impactful one. And so you can end up anywhere, and then you can be the driver of change that makes our world a better place. Next slide, please. So why should you do that here at RMIT? Well, these courses that we have here in this program are designed and developed by the experts in that area. We have research centers here and teaching hubs with people that really live and breathe social impact. They find that incredibly important, and they are the ones that will be teaching you. You're getting the best of the best. Next slide, please. And of course, and you've heard this before, you get to work with industry in the classroom. And instead of flashing some industry names at you, I thought I'd take you through an example of what happens in one of our courses. This is also a marketing course, by the way. It's called Marketing and Society. And in this course, our students were asked to come up with a social marketing intervention or program that would convince people to donate blood. And this team here really focused on the millennial generation who is time poor and doesn't have a lot of money, and they can't afford to take time off from work and miss out on a shift's work and on their salary. And so what these students did, they came up with a marketing campaign that really focuses on the fact that you can get 2 hours paid leave when you donate blood. Okay? So this is just one example here of how we work with industry. And what you can see is you won't just be having social impact when you're a graduate. No, you will be having social impact throughout your degree already. You can start next Sunday if you want. Right? Next one, please. That is it for me. I am going to turn this back over to Linda. Thank you.
Thank you for a great presentation, Jannica. We'll now spend some time answering questions from the audience. And if you've got any questions, please post them in the Q&A. We can see quite a few coming through already. And I've got a team there that are ready to answer some of the questions in the chat, but Jannica and I will now go through some questions together. So, okay, Jannica, we'll start one for you. So what are some of the skills that will be essential to making social impact in the future?
Yes, great, wonderful question, that one. So this is what you will be learning during this program, right? You will be learning exactly what types of things you can do to make change happen. So you need some problem solving skills, some change management skills, but you also need to really be able to analyze the context from where you're running this business. So you need to understand human rights issues. You need to understand these societal trends that are going on. You need to be able to identify them and then understand how you go and change them or turn them around, how you move people to do something. These are creative, but also analytical skills, conceptual skills that you will need to learn to do in order to make social impact. So in essence, we will teach you how to think, we will teach you the tools, and we teach you the skills on how to create social impact.
Thanks, Jannica. So one of the questions from the chat I've got here was, do you need to be very good at art and drawing to do marketing? And I'm going to say straight away, definitely not. I am certainly probably the worst drawer. I have very little artistic ability at all, but I love marketing, and I like to think I'm pretty good at it. So marketing is not about the artistic side. That's part of the advertising and communications aspect of marketing, but that's only one really small part. So I think the really best marketers are ones that can be both analytical and creative in terms of problem solving ability. So when you look at an issue, a problem or an opportunity in the market, you can think through what some of the potential solutions are and do that in quite a creative way. So when we talk about creativity in marketing, we're talking much more about our ability to think through issues and come up with solutions rather than being able to draw pretty figures. Although I know some of my colleagues are really great at that as well. But yes, one of my colleagues has just said to me that they're the worst drawer ever, and I dispute that I could probably beat that. So on to the next question. Oh, here's a really good one. Another marketing one that I will answer is, how can marketing help one in starting a business? And I think this is a great question to have, because a lot of our students either want to start their own business, they start one during their university studies, or they're looking at in the future and thinking that they might like to work in the industry for a few years before starting their own business. But regardless, every business needs some marketing skills, and particularly entrepreneurial and startup businesses, because one of the key things you need to do to be successful is to identify a problem or an opportunity in the market which you can provide value in solving for consumers or for society. And that is a key aspect. It's the very first part of an overall marketing strategy, is being able to identify what that problem is and how you are going to create value to solve that problem for the community, or to address an opportunity in the market that can have a benefit to society overall. So whether it's identifying the right type of product attributes that appeal to the right target consumer, being able to deliver value at the right price to meet different market demands so that everyone in society can access a product that solves the issue for them, or whether it's to find new and innovative delivery channels to get the right services to the right people at different times. And I think, Janica, I don't know if you wanted to address how maybe social impact can work together, perhaps with marketing or with other disciplines, to help new businesses in their startup as well.
Yes, Linda. So what you'll find, if I work a lot with the RMIT Activator in the classroom, and there we have startups, and most of those startups will have social impactful goals as part of their businesses. So, for example, we've worked with Team Timbuktu. I know I have, but I also know the marketing discipline has worked with them, and in really helping them come up with a way to target their consumers. And interestingly, you'll see that many of these startups, they have a great idea, but they don't know how to bring it to market. And that's where marketing can help. And that's what we want to do. And if we can get good marketers that know how to create social impact and then starting their own business, I think we have a very positive, beautiful future to look forward to.
Thanks, Janica. We've got a question here, and that is, what is the process of marketing a business? Well, the marketing strategy process starts with, as I mentioned just before, identifying a problem or an opportunity in the market and thinking creatively how you can provide a solution to that problem or take advantage of that opportunity to create value for consumers. Then we work through some strategic level processes of identifying the right target market, so through segmenting the market, identifying who exactly we're going to target with our product or our service, and positioning our product so that it provides value in the market and we can create that sustainable competitive advantage relative to our competitors. Then there's the real tactical sides of it. It's actually developing the product or service. What are the different product or service attributes, the physical product, the packaging, all that type of stuff, to setting the right price, the right delivery or distribution channels, and then also the marketing communication, so all the advertising and promotions. And then the last stage of actually marketing is the after sales service stage. So after we've sold the product, after we've delivered the service, how do we then continue to work with our customers and our clients to ensure that we've created that value for them, and evaluate all our overall marketing strategy. So marketing really infiltrates all parts of a business plan, and it's a skill that I think is really valuable to any business, and that's why you'll see marketing is a career, is a skill set that's in demand across a range of industries, whether it's fast-moving consumer goods, which is like a really obvious one, to maybe working in the mines and in government departments and policy development areas, because that skill set is really about understanding the market, what the problems and opportunities are, and working through that strategic process to delivering value to solve the problem or to leverage the market opportunity. Hopefully that answers your question, but if not, pop another one in the chat and I can follow up more on that as well. I could talk about marketing all afternoon, but we'll get on to some other questions. A question for both of us, but Janneke, I'll ask you to answer this one first. So how future-proof are social impact and marketing? Will I be replaced by a robot?
Yes, that is a good one. Well, I think there's two parts of this question, and I will answer both sides of it. Look, social impact is incredibly future-proof in the sense that we are not a specific discipline or a specific career here. It's about learning how to transform any career or any business or any area into a socially positive and impactful one. So whatever comes in the future will actually be where you can step in and make change happen if it's needed. So very future-proof in that sense. Are you going to be replaced by a robot? Well, you'll notice that if you need to make change happen that is socially impactful, you need to be able to be creative, to match concepts, understand. It's not just about knowledge and tools. It's really about bringing things together and coming up with innovative solutions and ideas. And I think that's a very human skill, and you will be very, very well placed to step into that human role when everything else is automated.
Thanks, Janneke. And I think a lot of that applies from a marketing perspective as well. So, there's a lot of growth in marketing automation, artificial intelligence, ensuring that we create environments that add value to our consumers. For example, in the health services industry, there's a lot of research that's being done and testing that's being done on developing service robots. So it can be quite awkward sometimes for people to address health issues directly with a service provider, and they're finding that the use of service robots is actually enhancing the ability for the health provider to actually address a health problem that someone's facing. So by putting a robot as the middle person, so to speak, in the service process, it's actually improving the process overall. So I don't think that we're ever going to be replaced by robots if if you're going for a career in marketing. I think we're going to be the ones that figure out how to best use robots or artificial intelligence or any of the other technologies that we haven't even thought of yet to create better solutions for people, for communities, for society. So rather than wondering how they're going to threaten our future careers, I think we need to be thinking about how we leverage them and make use of these technologies to enhance our industry and enhance the value that we provide the community. So next question here, there's been a few questions in the chat about doing double majors or doing double degrees. So a question here is, I'm interested in a double major, so doing the 2 majors from business as part of the Bachelor of Business. What do you think works well with marketing and also with social impact? So I'll start first with marketing, and I'm going to say that I think marketing should be your first choice. As I said, I'm a bit biased on that, but I also think it makes a great second choice for virtually any other major, because essentially what we need you to do, if you think of choosing 2 majors, what you're trying to do is curate a depth of understanding across 2 sort of major domains that will give you a unique positioning in the market. So whether you're an accountant, you're doing an accounting major alongside the marketing major, you might be looking into a business strategy and business development career path, or you're pairing human resources management, so like HR with marketing. You could work in a HR department but focus on internal recruitment and internal communications that leverages all your marketing skills. So I don't really think that there's any bad choices to partner a major with. I certainly think there are good ones, and there's a reason why marketing and social impact were paired together for the presentation today. And it's not just because Yannicka and I like to work together, but it's because that marketing has a major role in creating social impact, in communicating with communities and identifying how we can provide value that has a positive social outcome. So I think a second major in social impact is a great pair with marketing, but I could certainly make arguments for almost any of them. Personally, when as an undergraduate, I did my second major was economics. And I still use a lot of those skills today in thinking through problems that, marketing problems by understanding market structures and different types of economies that exist, as well as part of my everyday life. So, yeah, I don't think there's any bad choices, but I think there's certainly some that make great choices, and it's really about the career paths that you're most interested in. Yannicka, what would you say would make a great pairing with the social impact major?
Right. Well, look, I think I've already said this, right? Social impact is something that you can apply to any career in business. So whether it is economics, whether it is finance, whether it's human resource management, you can make positive change in all of those. So what you can do, and I already kind of explained this, is you can take one of those traditional disciplinary majors and then add social impact onto that. And you can really, really drive change within specific roles or careers that you might be traditionally looking at. On the other hand, yes, 2 majors, fantastic, but have another think about perhaps adding 2 minors to the mix. So have social impact as your major, but then 2 minors that help you really think, really curate your future careers. I already talked about behavioral business, but what about blockchain? Or there's something called social enterprising that would work really well with social impact as well. So have a think about where you see yourself and then where you want that change to happen. If you feel like the environmental sustainability theme is a really important one for you, then perhaps you can think about event management, marketing, etc. If you think that there is a real problem with people not understanding their finances, superannuation, etc., maybe then you can combine this with finance. So there's think from that point of view, maybe where you want to make that change, and then add another major to the social impact one as your basis. I think that might be a very good approach to take here.
Thanks, Yannicka. That's a great response. And I'm going to pair, I'm going to add a little bit more to that question, but also pair it with another question that we've had come through, which is around what some of the careers are that you can go into. And earlier on the slides, Yannicka and I both talked about or put out some of the different career options that you could look at for each of these marketing majors. But I want you to think about also the combinations of majors, or a major and 2 minors, as Yannicka just suggested, which is a great suggestion. How you could utilize those together to position yourself into different career paths, and how you can create a unique selling point. So there's a nice marketing term to use for yourself when you're going into the job market. So a combination of knowledge and skills that not every other graduate is going to have. And I think the suggestion of maybe pairing together a really traditional major like marketing with the new and innovative marketing, majors and minors like social impact or blockchain will provide you with a skill set that will be really unique to the market when you go out. You're going to be the first group of graduates that will have these combination of majors that no one else will have in the marketplace, and that will position you for some great career outcomes and career paths that are starting to develop, or we don't even know what they are yet. So there's some very traditional career outcomes for marketing. So working in brand management, working in as a digital marketing coordinator, or a data analyst. working in research and consumer insights careers. But there's also some new and emerging career paths that pair together things like marketing and social impact, such as being a partnership officer for a social enterprise or a not-for-profit business. So where you work together with different businesses to create value for that not-for-profit. You could be working together with, say, blockchain. So if you did a blockchain major or minor with marketing, you could be creating new digital assets that are being sold on the blockchain, and things that if you look at the NBA, they're now selling digital assets that have unique identifiers. So you could be creating whole new markets for products that are only starting to exist right now. So there's a whole range of different careers that you can go into in marketing. Some of those we're only just starting to see them come into the market, such as data science hygienists, where if you have marketing and an analytics minor together, you could specialize in data insights from a very much a user managerial strategic perspective. So there's a lot of different career options that you can go into. We don't expect you to know straight away. It's something you can explore during your degree. But if we have some ideas about where you might like to end up, we can certainly guide you in that choice between your majors, minors, and electives that you take as part of your degree. Yannicka, is there anything else that you'd like to share on careers for those students who'd like to choose a social impact major?
Sure. Yeah, look, I already did touch upon this thing that you can kind of turn any career into a socially impactful one. But I think what is also very interesting to be aware of, and this is why we have this Bachelor of Business in place the way we do, is that we don't know what future roles are out there. The world is ever changing, especially now with COVID. We might not know what roles you will get into, but you will be able to curate those roles and create them yourselves. As a matter of fact, I am designing a course called Designing Social Futures. And in that course, you will be designing a future that you want to have that is socially impactful. So maybe you will create that one job that doesn't exist yet, but we give you the skills, the knowledge, and the types of thinking that you need to create that future that you find important. And I think with that one, I might just quickly lead into another question that was posed on what skills are needed or what you will be learning in social impact. So what you will, and I've touched upon this previously a little already, the main thing here is that you will be learning creative problem solving. You will be learning how to gather knowledge and information around the fundamentals of social impact, things like poverty, wealth distribution, environmental impact, how your business can have an influence on other people, responsible practice. You'll get that knowledge, the way to gather that information, combine those pieces of information into new insights that you can then use to change careers, to change people, to change policies, and to really have a positive impact. So you'll be doing analytical thinking, conceptual thinking, creative thinking, problem solving, all those things you will learn. And if you know that, then you can pick any tool, any piece of information, and use that to create social impact. Thanks, Linda.
Thanks, Yannicka. So if you've got any final questions, you can please post them in the chat right now. But I'm going to wrap up the session with one final question that we have here, which is a really nice one to finish on, which is, what is it about your major that makes it different from others? So what is it about the marketing major or the social impact major that makes it different from others? So I'm going to start with the marketing major. I mean, I'm a bit biased. I think marketing is the best major to take. But I also think it's a major that complements every other major or every career that you could choose from. Marketing is part of our general lives, and you don't know it, but right now you're doing part of the marketing process, which is, gathering information so that you can make the best decisions for your education choice. And that's part of the marketing research process. Businesses go out and gather information so they can make the best business decisions for them. And they try to gather as much objective information as possible so they can make those decisions with less risk and uncertainty. It's something we do every time we want to buy a product, or in this case, choose what university to study at. A marketing major will give you that skill set in a really formalized way that allows you to blend your critical thinking skills, your problem solving skills, that science and that art that I spoke about earlier, to solve problems and create opportunities that will benefit yourself, that will benefit a business, a brand, but also society and the communities that we live amongst. Marketing is a skill set that creates value across all industries in our community. It creates value at the very community level in our local communities, right through to the highest level government policies, locally and internationally. So the marketing major provides that value to you. What is it about the marketing major at RMIT that makes it different from marketing majors elsewhere? And I think it's really about our blend of industry-driven relevance and learning opportunities, as well as our really rigorous understanding of that skill set that you'll need to learn that will sustain you through all changes in the market. So as I said earlier in my presentation, the team that I have here at RMIT that would be your marketing lecturers and tutors, they have industry relevant experience. They're highly qualified and award-winning educators. They have real-life industry links and currently do research with industry on big picture issues that would change how we understand marketing and drive it forward as a discipline. So I think RMIT is really good in it, gives you a really rigorous, high-value theoretical education, but it's at every layer has industry relevance and industry embedded in what we do in the classroom. So that's my sales pitch to you on what makes the marketing major different and a really great choice for you to study with us here at RMIT. Yannicka, did you want to give that last sales pitch on why the social impact major is a great choice?
Sure, let's do this. Yes, so social impact, it by nature is a bit different from what you might expect when you log into a website and see Bachelor of Business, because it is not really a specific business role or a specific business discipline that you might traditionally have heard of. And that's exactly right. So social impact is something that goes across or on top of your business practice, and it helps you become socially responsible in your business practice. It helps you to make real change happen in the world that is positive. And I know many of you have big concerns of what our future looks like, and this just gives you the opportunity to make that change happen yourself, and it gives you those tools and the skills and the knowledge and the way of thinking to be able to do that. And I think that just makes this major incredibly special, and just it's really quite unique that you are able to learn that at university and combine that with other majors or minors that really help you craft a future that you would like to see. So I think that is incredibly exciting. I don't think I need to convince you much of this one. I think it speaks for itself.
Thanks, Yannicka. I know I'm always certainly excited to talk to prospective students about our marketing major, but I think the social impact major is certainly one that I will be excited to talk about in the future as well, because I think each of them individually as well as together provide great value to you in developing your skill set and developing yourself as a really great contributor to society and business in the future. So thank you all for taking the time to learn about our marketing major and our social impact major here at RMIT today as part of our globally recognised business program. For more information on these programs, be sure to check out the program information available on our website. I know there's still a few questions coming through in the chat, and our team is there to answer those at the moment, so you can still post them for the next couple of minutes and watch out for a response. But otherwise, thank you for joining us this afternoon and have a great day.